Lord, when everything around me seems to cease and the sound of your voice is lost in the distant echo of my prayers, something within me still seeks you. It is in this silent space, where words fail to reach and my heart feels empty, that I discover how much I depend on you. There are days when the weight of life becomes a thick shadow over my soul, and yet even in the darkness I feel something sacred stirring, because your silence, O God, is not empty. It has form, it has life, it has purpose. It is the place where my spirit learns to hear what the world cannot say. It is the ground where faith germinates, even when the ground seems arid. It is there that I realize that your silence is, in truth, the deepest sound of your love. There are times, Lord, when I walk through valleys that seem endless, and I wonder if your gaze still reaches me. But then, amidst the pain, I realize that your presence never left. It simply became discreet, like someone standing beside the wounded, waiting for the right moment to heal them. Your silence is this invisible presence that watches me, that envelops me, that sustains me when the ground crumbles. It is the embrace I cannot see but feel. It is the response I do not hear but experience when my strength fails. And yet, something within me insists on remaining standing. It is you, Lord, who holds me when my soul weakens. It is you who collects the tears no one notices, who understands what I cannot explain, who transforms emptiness into refuge. You know, O God, how difficult it is to wait. You know the restlessness of my thoughts, the imbalance of my emotions, the anxiety that grips me when tomorrow seems uncertain. How many times have I looked to the sky and asked, Lord, where are you? How many times has the lack of an answer seemed like a wall too high to climb? But little by little I have learned that your silence is not carelessness, it is care, that your timing is wiser than my haste, that your silence is the necessary pause between the request and the miracle, between despair and understanding. Because while I think nothing happens, you are rearranging the invisible, sewing together the ends of my story, restoring what the world thought was lost. When I kneel and words fail to come, when my heart can only weep, I know that your Spirit translates each tear into prayer. I know that no pain goes unnoticed before your throne. Your silence, Lord, is not a punishment. It is a way of teaching me to listen to your heart. You do not disappear, you simply speak in a different way, and sometimes that way is silence. A silence that heals, a silence that reveals. A silence that invites me to rest, to let go of control, to let your love do what my hands cannot. Lord, when the night seems too long, when my heart cries out and finds no comfort, remind me that you too were silent in the garden of anguish, that your Son in Gethsemane also prayed and heard no immediate answer, and yet he was heard. Because your silence is not rejection, it is part of the plan. It prepares for the resurrection. Teach me to trust as Jesus did, even when heaven seems immobile, even when pain tries to convince me I am alone. May I understand that your love is not measured by the number of words I receive, but by the constancy of your presence that never leaves. Merciful God, how many times have I tried to hide my weariness and weakness from you, as if you didn't know how much it hurts? But you see me. You know the weight that no one notices. You know the effort behind every smile, the emptiness behind every gesture. And even when I try to appear strong, you know how fragile I am. And it is in this recognition, in this breaking of pride, that your grace enters. Because your silence is not coldness, it is an invitation to take off my masks, to speak to you without fear, to confess what I've never been able to tell anyone. There is profound comfort in knowing that your love does not depend on my performance, that I don't need to be perfect to be heard, that your gaze does not seek purity before approaching, but approaches to purify. And when everything within me screams, "It's over," your Spirit whispers, not yet. When I think pain has overcome me, your love lifts me up. When I think I'm forgotten, you remind me that my name is engraved on the palms of your hands. And suddenly, I realize that your silence is not the end, it is the means. It is the womb where a more mature faith, a deeper love, a trust that depends not on what I see, but on what I believe, is born. Lord, there are days when your silence hurts me, but there are others when it heals me. Because it is in your silence that I learn that I am not the master of time, nor of control, nor of the future. It is in your silence that I discover that my soul was not made to understand everything, but to trust. And when I finally surrender, when I stop demanding answers and seek only you, it is then that I feel your peace. A peace that does not explain but soothes, that does not answer but restores, that does not speak but transforms. You are the God who works in silence, the God who shapes without making noise, the God who writes stories of redemption between the lines of waiting. Therefore, even when I don't hear your voice, I choose to remain at your feet. Even when the sky seems silent, I choose to believe that you are speaking in another way, perhaps through the wind, a sunset, an unexpected embrace, a rest that comes after the storm. May I learn, Lord, to recognize you in life's small pauses. May I understand that the absence of your sound is not the absence of your presence, that your silence is a way of saying, "Trust, I am here." And that even when everything seems still, your grace continues to flow, silently, patiently, faithfully. Your silence is holy, Lord, and even if it hurts, even if it confuses, even if it makes me cry, I want to remain in it, because I know that at some point along this path it will transform into an answer. And when that happens, I will understand that every second of waiting was love in disguise. And until then, I will remain here in silence too, listening to yours, waiting for yours, trusting in yours. Because if your silence is the place where you are closest, then that is where I want to live. Lord, when the soul learns to rest in your silence, something new begins to blossom. It is no longer an anxious wait, nor a frantic search for answers. It is a sacred repose, a trust that surpasses human understanding. Because your silence, God, is not empty, it is filled with your invisible presence, like the air that cannot be seen but sustains life. And in that space between what I ask and what I receive, between what I dream and what I give, I discover that your silence is the greatest act of love. It is in it that you teach me to stop chasing explanations and to simply remain. It is in it that pride dies and faith is reborn. It is in it that the heart learns that it does not need to hear your voice to know you are near. It is enough to feel your peace. Oh God, there is a sweet weight in your stillness, a kind of silence that doesn't abandon me but envelops me, as if heaven itself holds me by the hand and says, "Be still, I am here." When the world demands answers, you teach me the value of waiting. When noises confuse me, you call me to your haven of calm. When everyone seems to have something to say, you invite me to hear what only the heart can hear, the sound of your constant presence, even when there are no words. There are moments, Lord, when your silence is so profound that the soul is frightened. It seems that prayers are lost, that promises are distant, that time passes without signs. But at the same time, it is there, in this apparent emptiness, that your love grows within me, because I realize that silence is not a lack of attention. It is your way of shaping me from within. It is your care in transforming me before transforming what is around me. You don't just answer prayers, you build hearts. And that is why, before moving mountains, you move my soul. Before opening paths before me, you make space within me. And how many times, Lord, it was precisely in silence that I found the answers words could never give. When I stopped asking you and began simply listening to you with my spirit, I realized that your silence spoke of trust. It spoke of time. It spoke of love. It spoke of your desire for me to grow enough to realize that I don't need to understand everything to be at peace. That I don't need to see you act to know that you act. That I don't need to touch your hand to feel your presence. Your silence, Lord, is the field where faith learns to walk without crutches. Sometimes I think your silence is the mirror that reveals what's inside me, because it's in it that everything hidden comes to the surface. Fear, pride, impatience, disbelief. Your silence reveals what words conceal. It exposes how much I still try to control what belongs only to you. And at the same time, it's in this confrontation that true rest is born. For when there's nothing else I can do, I realize that all that's left is to trust in you. And when I finally surrender what I could never control, I find your peace waiting for me. Like an ancient home that has always been open, you are the God who speaks even when you are silent. Your apparent absence is only how you hide your presence so that I may seek you again. And when I find you, I realize you were never far away, that you were always here, in the breath that sustains me, in the light that shines through the window, in the tear that falls yet purifies me. Your silence, Lord, is like the evening, serene, mysterious, full of beauty that the hasty eye fails to perceive. It is in this twilight of faith that your spirit whispers softly, not in thunder or lightning, but in breezes that gently touch the soul. And it is in this gentle, almost imperceptible touch that I understand. Your silence is mercy. It is the pause that protects me from acting impulsively. It is the time that saves me from wrong decisions. It is the care of a father who prefers to wait for the right moment rather than allow me to reap something before its time. Because your love is patient. It does not rush, does not force, does not impose. It matures me slowly until I am ready to receive what I asked for, or until I realize that what I asked for was not what I needed. Lord, when my faith is shaken, remind me that your Son also experienced silence, that Jesus, high on the cross, felt the weight of absence and still called you Father. And on the third day your silence was transformed into glory. Teach me, then, to see your silence as a prelude to your answer, not as the end of your love. May I learn to wait as one awaits the dawn, certain that night is not eternal. May, even when darkness covers the horizon, hope remain a light within me, because I know that your silence does not last forever. It prepares the sound of the miracle. And when the day of the answer comes, I want to look back and realize that your silence saved me, that it taught me more about faith than 1,000 words, that it was in your silence that I learned to love you not for what you do, but for who you are. That it was in your silence that I understood that faith is not a cry for answers, but a rest in your heart. So, Lord, if you choose to remain silent a little longer, I will accept it. If heaven seems silent, I will remain. If answers are delayed, I will trust. Because now I know your silence is the place where your love speaks loudest. It is the shelter where my soul rests. It is the shadow of your hand over me, hiding me until the right time comes to reveal your glory. And when that time comes, I don't just want to thank you for what you did. I also want to thank you for every second your silence sustained me, for every tear that brought me closer to you, for every night I sought you without finding you, and yet I felt your presence near. Because now I understand, when God is silent, it's because he is closer than ever. And that is the greatest comfort the heart can know.